If a woman arrives to the US and she doesn't have money, she doesn't speak much English, and so where can she look for help? Who can she trust?
It's a really, I think there are many questions in your questions. One is there are many resources available, and in fact, I Google myself. Um, and I'm a big advocate for women because I have very strong women in my life. There is U.S. Committee for Refugees. They can Google the website. There is World of Women Immigrant, and they help Jewish women. My husband's family immigrated from Belarus in 1992. So they actually received a tremendous help from Jewish Vocational Center. Um, they received free English classes. They were able to pass their exams. My husband went to medical school, to dental school in Russia, but he started his education in the United States from scratch. So today he holds two master degrees in healthcare. Um, I, I would say that the time when I immigrated, just 3 months before the collapse of Soviet Union, in the end of December of 1991, we had not every family in Russia back then had a telephone line. Of course, we didn't have computers. So today, women are more savvy. They use technology. They do research. We had a very small window of opportunities to leave Russia and to come to the United States. The first place that I was advised by people, by strangers to go was the Korean Center in San Francisco. And they offered ESL classes for $15 per class, which, very affordable. And I think if you have a financial hardship, like I came to United States with $1, they would let you to take the class for free. They would sponsor you. Um, I met many women immigrants, and I have to tell you, Galina, they're much smarter than I am. I had no clue. I literally took the risk, the major risk in my life. Arrived with $1, not speaking English in New York in 1991. So I would say also ask people. Ask people. Everyone is going to be a stranger, but a stranger becomes a great friend. It happened in my life. It happens literally every day. So stay open. Stay open and surround yourself by people and ask questions. Don't be shy. And asking for a help is not easy, but you will learn to ask for help.
Okay, that's a great advice. Thank you. So, uh, well, and how can a woman like that start building her career? So again, it's asking questions, right? And also I found that there are a lot organizations and companies that support immigrant women. Like I did the interview with a food incubator La Cocina in San Francisco, and they accept immigrant food entrepreneurs, and help them grow their businesses. So what are other options?
It's a very broad question because we're talking about women of different generations. And baby boomers, the generation of your parents and my parents, they probably would immigrate to a foreign country. And I'm going to talk about the US because, that's where I live now. It's to reunite with their children.
Okay.
Okay, that's one of the reasons. The second, it's a generation, your generation, millennium. And my cousins, actually, my cousin Irina lives in Beijing. She is, her child is wonderful because the father is French. My cousin is, from Russia, but her child was born in Norway, lives in Beijing. Your generation, you speak English. You speak two or three foreign languages. You have international degree or degrees, which is not surprising to me. I met many people, they pursue even a PhD, and they're not even 28 yet. Um, so the generation of me, when I came to United States as an adult, I was 23-year old, and I feel like a baby. I didn't speak any word of English, so I had to learn how to speak. I had to learn how to stand up and walk and fell and get up and walk. So there are many generation of women, and all of them have different needs or different problems. But one thing that they wanted is a better life. It's, I think, the most important thing is it's to find your passion. It's to find what you really like to do and navigate. But there will be time when we need to take a job just to survive. In my case, I had jobs that I wasn't crazy about. It wasn't that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But that moment, particular moment, I needed to survive. For example, I started as a cleaning lady. Was it the job that I dream of? Of course not. But that moment, it was a perfect job. And one thing that helped me to move to the next level is my commitment, no matter what, no matter if I'm cleaning the restroom or selling Lancome product or selling stocks, I had to do the best I can do that moment. I took the responsibility. It's my job to do the best I could. I also recommend to have a bigger vision for your life in a foreign country, but also understand the culture because um, there is actually a proverb. They said, when you come to Rome, do what Romans do. When you come to the United States, you're going to have a cultural shock because it's, as you know, I love talking to you because you understand both of us come from Russia. It's completely different mindset, isn't it? It's
Yes.
completely
Yes.
different culture. It's completely how we communicate and do business and how we build the friendships in this country. But I'm not saying that you have to completely change as a person. What I advise is bring the best from your country, bring the best from your culture, but also adapt very quickly to new culture because you're not going to explain and give the reason that you came from Russia and you don't know this, you don't know this. Oh, the funny thing is, talking about cross cultural, do you know the word sympathy in Russia? It's
Yeah.
a,
Yeah. Sure.
it's a nice word, right? We're
Yes.
sympathetic. Guess what? I was invited to my friend's husband's birthday party, and I had like about 10 minutes to buy a card. So I walk into a drugstore and I saw this card. It says with sympathy, and I didn't speak English very well. This is the word that I recognize. I purchased that card and I give it to him on his birthday. Can you imagine? Sympathy, which means that he is deceased. He was a very, very nice man. He traveled around the world. And after the birthday party was over, he said, "Come here." He said, "Your card stands out. I'm going to save it." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "The sympathy in the United States means I'm dead, but today is my
Oh.
birthday party." So yeah, it's understanding the culture in a country. We're living in a global economy, and women today, women immigrants have a better opportunities in China, in United States, even in Russia. For example, just recently I interviewed Donald Finn, Senior Director in the Global Office of Diversity of Walmart. And Walmart has this empowerment women's program. They provide training for women in different countries in Asia, India, Bangladesh. So I think about Starbucks. Starbucks is adding 70 to 80,000 jobs next 3 years in one country in the world, China.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so think about McDonald's. They're adding 70 to 80,000 jobs in one country in China. Um, I always say no matter where you travel or you immigrate, just follow your passion. It's not going to be an easy path, but many people did it before us. And I would just surround myself with people who had a similar background and also experience, and just ask them, listen to your heart, listen to wise people around you, and just make one step at a time. The hardest part is being patient. As a political refugee, I was waiting for 10 years, and I became a US citizen on August 18, 2001. And the hardest part, Galina, was not to be able to go and visit my family for 10 years as a political refugee. And I remember the date when I had to sign the paper in a court, and I didn't speak English, but my lawyer, Terry Helbush, explained me, this means that you cannot go back to Russia for 10 years. I cried. I cried. I
And why
cried.
is that?
Because as a political refugee, you cannot leave country for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a lot of research available today and technology that women can research and make a wiser decision. Definitely, my journey was not easy at all, but I have no regrets.
Svetlana, so it's a incredible story, and I have a question about reaching out to people. So you said that we need to ask for help, right? So how do you reach out to people that you think might help you, or you really feel connected to? Like you have a lot of things in common.
I think, it's a great question, Galina, but the way you reach out to me and you did the research, that's a great example. And, women are naturally are a relationship builders. We're the one who good at creating this network, having friends. It's very different from being a male, where men cannot show their emotions. Being a young girl or a young woman, one of the assets is that we can call our friends and tell them how we feel and what we're going through. Today is using social media. You can Google people. Most of the people are, have Facebook accounts. They're on LinkedIn. And in my experience, I do have people in Switzerland, in China. People contacted me from Korea, Slovenia, Russia. It's just so easy to get in touch with people.
Great, great. Thank you. Well, Svetlana, and if you could, and I know that you like drawing maps, right? Like wish map. So
Yeah,
if you could draw a map or make a list of, steps for a woman who are an immigrant, right? What
yeah.
would you, what would it look like? Oh, that's
Um,
another map.
I do have this one as an old one. It's my dream board, and that was created on August 7th, 2010 at 8:43 p.m. And this is a message I got. All the good things are real. So what I wrote is what I believe in and what I wanted. What I wanted is I also wrote three goals that I wanted to achieve. I'm still working on all of them. And I also wanted to work on my brand. Means what people think when they talk to me. So, what I realize is that when we go deeper to our core and we know who we are, we create our own brand. Let's say you have a friend and you are introducing her to somebody else, and that person would say, "Oh my gosh, I know. Oh, you must know her because she always delivers. She always keeps her words. If she promises, she will do it." That's the personal brand, okay? Or you have someone who is a great research person. This person knows, for example, in my circle, I have a friend, Padmaja. I was changing the windows in my house and I called her and I said, "You know what? I'm looking for a windows, nice windows." And she said, she got back to me and she said, "You gotta research. My friend loves Pella Windows, which is the second largest manufacturer in the United States." So that's the brand of Padmaja. She is a scientist at FDA in Washington, D.C., Federal Drug Administration. She is great at research. She always connects people. That's her brand. And knowing your core will help you to stay very grounded because as a woman immigrant, all this information is just like the wind. It's like coming to you. And if you don't have that solid ground, it's very hard to go into different directions, which is okay. But once you know, you can really center and to filter the information that is beneficial to you. And that is important. Being selective and really processing the information you're receiving.
Yeah, speaking of that, what do you think are the things that young woman, immigrant should avoid really in the U.S.?
I think they should avoid the pattern of questioning and doubt. Questioning, am I good enough? And have that doubt. I think the mindset should be forgiving and more compassionate to yourself because it's avoidable to make some errors. Do not be harsh on yourself. And also, if you make an error, recognize it, do not deny, and move forward and say, what did I learn from that? What did I learn? What do I lack? What do I need to work on? I constantly learn new things every day. I read a lot. And I think we're very self-critical we're just self-critical creatures. It's good, but I believe it's good at certain point. At certain point, we had to embrace ourselves and all the lessons that we learn and say, it's okay to make mistake. I make the mistake. That's not the end of the world. That is not what defines me. I'm going to get stronger, wiser, smarter. And next time, I will do this much, much better and be more successful.
Okay. And so this is the mindset that a woman has to have, right? So it's ask for help, ask questions, right? And be positive, stay focused on their goals, and have the map of what she wants to achieve. And so where can she I know that you support the shelter for women in Washington. Could you please tell more about it?
Um, I will just kind of do a detour to answer your question. The shelter is a Calvary Women's Shelter in Chinatown in Washington, D.C. Um, they have grown, but they had 10 to 11 residents. And a woman came to the shelter for many different reasons. It's health issues when they lost the job. It's abusive marriage. They divorced. So there are different reasons. But one of the reasons that I supported the shelter for many years is that they keep their names confidential and they provide a training. They have organization that they partner with where women can learn how to write a resume, how to be an excellent, how to improve your skills during the interview, because some of the women never worked or never worked last 10, 15 years raising the family. So now they're back in the workforce. They also provide housing, which is a big expense. It's very expensive in the United States. I was a member of the Junior League of Washington, D.C. back then, and I started, not I, but the group of Junior League members, we started an overnight program because it was very important if someone gets sick, that someone is there for them. We were not allowed to befriend them or to be friends. It's a very professional environment. So I like that you give advice as a professional person that you would give the advice. If someone approaches me and say, hey, Lana, I'm going for an interview, which happened a couple of times, what advice would you give? And I had to stay very professional and to give them a professional advice. Not like to be, oh, you poor thing, what are you doing at the shelter? Absolutely not. And that's why I have tremendous respect for the team working at Calvary Women's Shelter.
Wow, that's great. And is there, because you are now in LA, right?
Oh, I'm actually in San Francisco.
You are? So now you're
Yeah.
back to your husband.
Well, we did by coastal, and my agreement was to be 1 year in Washington, D.C., but it's been 5.5 years. So my husband was very clear in the beginning that he's not going to move to Washington, D.C., but I challenged him. So now I'm here, but I travel back. My network is in Washington, D.C. and New York.
Okay, okay. But you're now together because I was watching one of your interviews and he said, well, yeah, my husband is in San Francisco and I'm in Washington. And it really upset me, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, we've been by coastal, but yeah, now we live together.
That's great.
So
That's
it's
great.
much nicer. Yeah.
Okay, so Svetlana,
What
so
is another advice is, and I hope men are watching this program because in the beginning of our friendship, we met in 1994, and we got married in 2006. It was very important. I was clear about my intention and goals in my life. It was very important. Family is very important to me, but pursuing my calling and pursuing my dreams is as important. It's really the essence of my being, and nothing I can do with that. So I'm grateful that I had that great support and understanding. But a lot of things happen when I met a great woman, and they don't have that support. Um, Men feel that wife is competitive. I heard different things, but really, truly, when people love each other, love is meaning to help each other. Okay, there is one great line that I believe. Two people meet for one reason, is to advance each other, to complement each other. And he supported me on every idea I wanted. He never told me that it's a crazy idea, but he is not. He's a risk taker, but I'm extreme. And I recognize my weaknesses and my strengths, and I'm open about that. I'm open. And I guess he didn't want me to get hurt in the process, and he was always trying to protect me. But then he realized it's my nature. It's that's how I live, and that's what makes me happy. And I told him, if I fell, I'm going to get up. Don't worry. If I'm going to have a pain, it's okay. Don't worry. That's me. I can tolerate. Because honestly, each one of us in a situation right now that we need to be. I know probably after this call, we'll have emails and saying, what is she talking about? I'm in a situation where I have no job, no place to stay, and I meant to be, I meant to leave this. Well, the answer is yes.
Yes. So actually, how many crazy ideas have you pursued?
Well, I can talk about now. Well, crazy ideas. I pursue escaping from Russia at the age of 23 with $1, not speaking English. Then,
That's obvious. Yeah.
so back then, you were 4 year old.
Yes.
I was immigrating. Back then, well, there were literally no refugees of Korean descent coming from Russia. So I created a little box on the application and wrote down Soviet Koreans. And they said, well, tell us about that. And my interview was really short and brief because I didn't speak English. And literally, I wanted to go to America to pursue my education. That was a crazy idea. Another idea is I had $1.50, and I went to a Salvation Army store, which is where you can buy books, household items for less than $1. So I went there. I bought makeup, and they have green eyeshadow and blue eyeshadow. And I took the first bus I saw. I ended up being at Macy's store, which is one of the largest retail in America. And I walked in, and Galina, I recognized one word, Lancome, because I couldn't afford Lancome in Russia, and it was very popular brand. Well, you were a child, you but so
It still is.
it still is, which is great. Anyway, so I asked for a job, and they asked me, "Do you have a work experience?" I said, "No." Honestly, I didn't even know how to fill out the application form because I didn't know how to write in English. They helped me. And I realized that I love makeup. I really do, and I still do. And I love selling. I love people. And these two things that helped me to do a great job. So I became a top producer, and I've been growing with Lancome for years. I've been with the company for 8 years. And then I've been recruited to work for Laura Mercier when she launched the company. It was 3 years old. So I was the account executive for Laura Mercier. I had amazing teams I worked with, Neiman Marcus stores, Saks Avenue, all the beautiful, beautiful stores in Bay Area, and great people. I learned a lot from payrolls from hiring people, working with the buyers in a store, hosting Laura for her personal appearances, putting the events together. I mean, it was multifaceted, fascinating job that I really learned a lot. But the success is understanding people. Any job you do, it's about people. It's in fact, that's a great example. Yesterday we had a wonderful dinner at five-star little restaurant. It's actually a Victorian house that was built in 1881, and they asked about our experience, and we told them it's about people. They said great food, a great menu. I took a picture. My plate was so tiny. I was really hungry after dinner. And my husband said, well, it's about the ambience, it's about experience. And when they asked about our experience, I said, you make that difference. It's people.
A question about studying English. So, how long did it take you to study English? To speak English well? Was it like just, when we're like in an extreme situation, we just do everything faster? Is that how it worked?
I think yes. In extreme situation, or all your inner gifts are on a table. You just put everything out on a table, like it or you don't like it. And believe or no, I'm still studying English every day. Very interesting is because I also meditate and I let the subconscious to let me express myself through writing. It's a streaming of the words, and sometimes I don't even. I actually write with a pencil, not a pen. I like pencils, and I don't type into the computer because it kills my creativity. If I'll sit in front of the computer and I wanted to write something creative, it will take me 5 times longer. So I really, it's hard for me to say when I stopped studying English because I never stopped. I'm a lifetime learner, and I don't remember exactly when I started speaking because I was forced to speak, and I was speaking, 3 months after I arrived in the United States, but I was speaking like probably like a year-old child with broken English. So it's a art in the progress. I would say that. Because if I would say that, I learned English and I started speaking, being for a year in the United States, the question is, how well did you speak English? So
Yeah.
it's a very, very broad question. I believe in constantly studying and reading. It's like Russian language. Isn't it amazing? The vocabulary is so broad, and you can read, and you feel like, oh my gosh, the more I study, the less I know.
That's true. That's true. And well, how about Russian? Do you speak Russian sometimes?
Yeah, I love Russian. Yeah, I love Russian. In fact, I just we just purchased a dictionary. I don't know if you remember DAO, the
No.
dictionary. No. So yeah,
Oh,
it's a one.
dal, dal. Yes. No,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
now you speak with an American accent. I don't understand your Russian.
Yeah, sorry. I just got four. Yeah. I like to read. Russian writers in Russian because I mean it's like it really well, Russian is my mother tongue, so that explains that.
Okay. So, Svetlana, when when you went through immigration procedures, how does that work really? Do you have to hire a lawyer? What would your advice be for a woman who would like to do that?
Um, I I had a lawyer. I had an immigration lawyer because back then, I was my case was slightly different because I was of Korean descent coming from Russia, and I believe I was the first Korean coming from Russia and the first one to apply as a political refugee. Um, Today, and my attorney was fabulous. In fact, she took a case and she let me pay her with one condition. I would pay her back when I get a job. And I just so grateful to her because um, she knew that I don't speak English. She knew that I had to wait for a work permit. She knew that it will take me a long time, but she took a risk. She took a risk. I paid her back very quickly. I would suggest to have a lawyer, and it's not easy. Really not easy. But I think the best way is to ask people and also look for immigration lawyers and see if someone can do a pro bono work for you or with some conditions that you can pay them back when you get a real job.
Okay.
And I do believe in great people. I do believe
Absolutely.
that people help people. I do.